First of all, if you want to learn HTML well, you can either use Notepad on your PC or just download and enable any other text editor from the internet. So you can either use Visual Studio Code, you can use Sublime Text, you can also use Notepad++, you can also use brackets and many more other text editors. So on my case, I want us to use Visual Studio Code. So if you have not installed Visual Studio Code on your computer, you can just download it from their official website. Just type Visual Studio Code download, and then this is their official website download. All right. Now, after that, you'll need to click on this one and download and install. All right. Now, after you have installed, you need to launch. You need now to launch your Visual Studio Code. It will look like this. So first of all, you need to write your HTML file. So you'll click on this file, then you click on new file. All right, then it will be like this. Then you can click on save. All right, then you can write index.html. all right, now the HTML file are saved with an extension of html.html. all right, so those are the HTML file. They are saved with an extension of .html. You click on save. All right, after now you have saved your work, you have saved now your file. Now you need to click, you can either click an exclamation mark, then you press enter, then or just click right type doc. All right, you can either type doc, then you press enter. All right, to generate basic tags for HTML. all right, now HTML is used for general structure of an web page. So HTML is just used for general structure. all right, now we have some basic tags that are used in HTML. all right, now first of that, or that tags that are used is HTML, and then you have HTML. So they all have an opening tag and a closing tag. You see now here is an HTML, then you close here with an HTML. No, the difference between the opening and the closing, now you see that this one closing as a forward slash before after the less than sign. all right, now after that you'll also have your head. This is a whereby now you'll have your closing tag here for the head. Now here is where you write your title, you write the meta, which shows how the website should look, or how the size, and it also enables you to write and enable like your website will be responsive and it will appear good on all devices. Right, now here is where you write your title, the title of your document. Now this one is document. all right, now let's open this one dot this index. Now you see that this is the title that you're talking about, the document. all right, this document here is the title that you're talking about. You can change the title to something else like learning HTML. right, learning HTML. right, so if you come here, then you refresh, see that the title has changed. So this is the title that we are talking about. So that's the title that you're talking about. The same place is where you insert your CSS. You see the style tag in between the head tags, but that one let's leave it for a later discussion. all right, now you'll also have the body, and now this is where all your content or your web page content is contained. So in between these tags for body is where all your content is contained. So now if you type here, you type something there, then you come back to here, then you refresh, see that it appears here, right? Now you see, now this is the basic tags for HTML, right? Now you see that this is a body tag, so you can have other tags that we'll be using, that is heading. We'll have heading 1. You can have heading 1. It will also have an heading and a closing tag. Alright, now for the heading 1, you can just write that it goes up to heading 6. Alright, so it goes up to heading 6, so we have heading 2. Sorry, so this is heading 2. Then the last one is heading 6. Heading 6. Alright, sorry, this is heading 6. Alright, so this is, so we have heading 3, heading 4, and heading 5. Alright, so this one is biggest. First heading, you can write first heading to see the difference. First heading, you can write this second heading. The second heading, then you can write sixth heading, right? Now if you come back to your browser, then you click on a refresh, you see now this is biggest, this is somehow smaller than this one, and this one is so small. All right, so the other sizes goes decreasing down, right? Now that's the basic tags that or this is for heading. So the other one we'll be using is for paragraph. All right, for paragraph P. All right, so this one is just used to write your paragraph. You see that you can write, this is your paragraph, you can write your paragraph there. All right, then you can just come back here and then refresh. Right, you see, now if you insert another P tag or paragraph tag, this is paragraph tag, you'll see that it goes to the next line. All right, this goes to the next line, it goes to the next line. See, now this is the first paragraph and this is the second paragraph. All right, now it may come a point whereby you want to break this line, such that after this content here, it goes to the next line. So you'll have another tag which will be using, which is break. BR is denoted by BR. All right, so if you click here, then if you refresh, then it means that this content after this tag, it will appear to the next line. So let's refresh here. You see now this content has come to this other line here. All right, you see, now the other tag we'll be using is the use of horizontal line, which is denoted by HR. This is another tag that we'll be using. So it will make a line across. The web page. All right. So this is another tag that we'll be using regularly. All right. Now you see that we have discussed some of the basic tags and how you can write your first program and print your hello world. So if you want to print your hello world, you can just use either tag heading or just write, let's write heading. You can just either print hello world, and also you can also write P hello world. You can also write hello world without the tags. All right, now you have printed your first program in HTML. See that hello world. All right, now that's how you can print your hello world and the basic tags that we'll be using in your HTML. In our next part, we'll do something else on formatting, and thank you for watching this. So let's get back. discuss formatting in HTML. Formatting in HTML. So you'll have this is formatting. All right. Now we introduced basic tags that are used in HTML. We said that HTML is just used for general structure. So most of these parts we will be discussing in this module is about formatting, which is more basically used or which is applied mostly in CSS. Right? So CSS is used for styling, which we'll be discussing in another tutorial. All right. Now, in this bundle, I'll just explain some of the basic formatting that are used in HTML. All right. Now, first of all, we can write this is my heading. All right. This is my heading. So if you go back to your browser and you refresh, you see that this is my heading. So you love that. Then we can apply some formatting to this. All right. Now, first of all, I want us to discuss how to you can insert the font size. You can increase the font size, the size of the characters. You can also increase, you change the font color and that. So you can use inline CSS, whereby you have this is color. You can change the color. You can either insert green. So this is green. Then you insert a semicolon. So you have your style, your color, and your value. All right. So this one will be discussed later in our tutorial on CSS. But for this, basically, we want to see how this. So you have inserted that. Then you insert a semicolon at this point. Then if you go back to your browser and refresh, see that the color has changed to green. All right. Now you can insert the border. You can insert the border at this point. So you can remove this color. You can change the border, whereby the border you can use specify the size of the border 1px. Then you can have various types of borders as we'll be discussing in our CSS tutorial, whereby we'll discuss more about this border. So you can have solid, and you can say that the color is black, or you can change the color to something else. So this is black. Then you come back to here and you refresh. You see that you are adding as a border around, which is 1px. All right. Now you can also insert the background color. So if you want to insert anything else before this, so you can just use a comma, then you say that the other one is, so this one is okay, you're using a semicolon at this point. All right. Now you can also insert the background color at this point. So you can say background color, then you can say that you can use a background color which is brown. All right. So that's brown. Right, let's come back to this point, then you refresh. See that the color, the background color changed to brown. Right. Now those are some basic. The other one, you can insert the font size. You can change the font size. Then increase the size of this heading. Right. You can just use something else, like let's say 40px. Right. This is 40px, so the size will be big. You see that the size, this is what, this is 40. So let's increase it to something else like 60. You can change it to 60 px. All right. New refresh, see the size has increased. So that's how you insert the font size and all that. So the other one is text alignment. You can change the text alignment of this one. You can arrange your content according to your specification. You can either align it to the center, you can align it to the right, or you can just align it to the left, or just justify. Right. Now the you can just say center, you can align at the center. See, okay, let's go back and refresh here and see. You see your heading has come to the center, right? You can either align to the left, so left is just by default, so you can just align to the right, you can align to the right, right? So if you come back here and you refresh, you see that it has aligned on this part on this side. All right, now the other one is just about Ford family. It's about Ford family. Ford family. It's about Ford family. You can say that you can change to Fedana. There are several Ford families that are available that you can use. So you see that the 4D size Ford family has changed. You see the style that you're using here this time. So you can also change this one to something else like area. Okay, so this is, you can change to something else like area. You can change to area, then you just come here, then you refresh. See the font size, the font family has changed. So the other one you will be using is, there are other several websites, there are the not website, sorry, so other formatting that are available on our CSS tutorial. So we have many other for the weight, for test capitalize, you change your text to transform, you can change your text decoration and all that. All right, now the other thing we'll be using, we discuss some of the basic formatting that are fileable. We'll have, you can underline, you can change your font so that you can have your bold. So using B is whereby you change your, this text is in bold, is in bold, right? So the text will appear in bold. You'll have it'll be somehow deep in color, right? You see now, this one is in bold. The text is in bold. Let's see the difference between this and this text in bold. All right. Let's refresh here and see the difference. You see, this one is more dark, it's more dark than this one. So this one, so B tag is just used to change the text to appear in dark color of the color that you are using. The other one is hue. The hue is just used to underline. So this text is underlined, this text is underlined. All right, this text is underlined. If you come back to your browser, then you refresh, you see that this text is underlined. See that the text is underlined. So the other one is the use of italics, whereby you use I. So it's used to show, or you laugh, this text is in italics. All right, this text is in italics. So if you come back here and you refresh, you see that your text is in italics. It is forward, so it's slashing forward. See that it is in italics. All right, you can change the color to something else. You can either use subscript, whereby your text will appear below other characters. So let's say this text is below other characters, right? Now if you come back here and you refresh, see that this text appears below other characters here, so it's in subscript. All right, so the other one is superscript, whereby your text will appear just above other characters. So this one is soup, whereby this soup. So alright, this is what soup. This text appears above other characters, right? Appears above other characters. So let's refresh and see. So you see that your text appears above other characters. So that's all about. So the other tag that we discussed on our previous tutorial or module, it was use of BR, which is break, whereby your text will come in the other line, right? Will break your line, it will appear in the other line. So this is BR. You can have to enable that the reading, right? So this is what you refresh. See that this is in bold, this is underlined, this is in italics. And the other one is in superscript, and the other one is in subscript, and the other one is in superscript. So there are several other formatting styles that we'll be discussing later in our tutorial and on CSS. And remember to subscribe to our channel, like, then you'll be able to see our CSS module tutorial. All right, now that's all about formatting, some of the basic terms that are used in formatting in HTML. Types in HTML. Input types. So some of the input types that we'll be discussing is text. We'll discuss email, password. We'll discuss also the button. We'll discuss checkboxes. We'll discuss also the max length. We'll also discuss radio, and this also discuss required. We'll discuss placeholders, and finally we'll discuss on submit and reset. So basically these input types are mostly used in when you're creating your HTML forms, and some of the other projects that you can do that need some filling of data, like the survey forms. You can also something else like registration forms and something of those sort, right? So some of these input types you said that is test. So when you're creating your form, you may need to insert a test. So you can have input type, then you can just name it test. This is test. Then you can just name it, this is name. Then this is can be either full name or it can just be name, right? So name can just be first name, right? Let's have first name. So that's an input type for test. All right, so if you come back to your browser, then you refresh, see that you love this one, so you can fill in your name like Philip. So you see, so this is, I love something of this sort. All right, now this is Philip. You can fill your name there. So you can also have something else, input type for email. You can have input type for email, whereby you love. You can also have input type for email. Let's paste this, and also for password. You can have input type for email and password. So this is what. Let's have this is email, and then at this point you can just say email. All right, then the other one is just for password. So this is input type for password. So this is, then at this point you can just use as a short form, which is PCW. Right, so if you refresh, you'll have something this to the boxes. So you can use the use of BR here, break, whereby they will have a good format and looks well. All right, this is what, this is BR, and that one is BR. Right, then just come here, then you refresh, see that it appears as this. So here you can fill your name, then at this point you can fill your email. At this point, you see, when you type your password is hidden, right? Your password is hidden, so you can just type your email, your password at that point, right? Now the other one is just the use of required, whereby, but before that, required is just whereby you validate your input type, that such that some of these field cannot be left empty. So if you say that this is required, then it means that you cannot submit your data form without filling that certain field. All right, so let's say you say use required at this point, required, then at this point also you insert required, and also at this point let's say required. Then you can also have something in here whereby you can have button type, which is submit. All right, this is submit. Then you'll have submit at this point, but before that you can enclose this one to show that it's in the same, it's a form, right? So this one you can use the form tag, whereby you can just close this point. Then at this point also you can have form, you close, this is closing tag for form, right? Now let's see, so this is you refresh, so this is submit. If you click on this one, it says that please fill out this field. All right, so the use of required is just used for validation, or just restricting submitting your form data without filling that particular field. All right, now let's say if you fill your data, and then you can possibly submit your your form. All right, now so you can have, this is what, let's remove one of them, so let's say email is not important, right? Then you can just insert your name there, you can just insert your name and also fill this one, and then it's possible you can submit. All right, so at this point this is required, right? So you can just then click on submit. So see, so it's just used for restricting, your your data. So then the other thing is just use of reset, whereby you have, this is what input type. Okay, this is use of reset input type, whereby you have what, reset. You see, then at this point, so at this point let's refresh and see. You see the reset is set here. So let's say you insert your name, then you find that this is what's not what you required, so you can just reset. If you click the reset, then it clears everything and set it to just to be empty, right? So let's say you see, so you can just click here and reset and fill new data. You can just click there and then fill new data. All right, now this one is just used for submitting your data form. So submit is just used for submitting your form data. All right, now the other one is use of placeholder. Placeholder is just used here, you can just use placeholder. So placeholder is just used to show the people who are filling out the the form data, the example of how the name should be. Let's say it's John. See, so the example of data format, so it shows how data format should be, right? So at this point, this email, you can just use placeholder, whereby you can show your people that how a email should look like. So this is at gmail, example at gmail.com. So then also for the password here at this point, you could just say this is what. This is placeholder, this is placeholder. Then you can just say this is what. Right, this is how your password should look like. If you come back to your website and refresh, so it shows that your name should appear as this John. So the email should have this one, should have a gmail.com, and this one password should look like this. Right, now you see, now this is placeholder, is just used when you want to show your people, like those people, the users who are filling out the data form, how their data form should look like. So or just explain more about the input field, that it is. Okay, now the other one that we'll be discussing today is the use of button, the use of button. So you can have a button whereby if you click on it, it produces a certain information. So let's say below this you can have input, the input type. You can say that it's a button. All right. So this is a button. So on click the button, on click, then we'll have an alert. It should have an alert, which is, so this some JavaScript here. We are learning HTML. We are learning HTML. Right. Now, then after this you can have a value, the value that should be displayed on the button. The value which is displayed on the button then can be, let's say, click me. All right, you can have either something like click me. Now after that you can just come back to your browser, then you refresh. See that if you click on this, it produces we are learning HTML. Okay, so that's the use of a button. So when you click a certain button, what should it produce? What should it display on the screen? So if you click on this, then it displays that the page says that we are learning HTML. All right. Now, the other one is the use of max length. The use of max length. So to some extent here, you can, let's remove this field for email, and I have another input field here. Input type, which is just, let's say, a test, right? Then the name is, let's say, phone number. So this is just a phone number. This is just a phone number. Then at this point you can have a max length. All right, so you can have a max length. Okay, sorry for this. So at this point use a max length, then you can just specify it to something like 10 characters or 8, just to say 8. All right, so it means that at that certain field you cannot fill more than 8 characters at that certain point you cannot fill more than 8 characters. So if you just fill, so see that it reaches somewhere, and that, see, so this you can just only fill 8 characters. So these are just 8 characters. So this one is just to limit the number of characters that can be inserted in a certain field. All right, you can also specify for password. So password should not have more characters, like you can specify like 10 characters. You cannot say that a character or a password should be at least or at most 8 characters. All right, so after that, so you cannot fill or you cannot have a password which is more than that those characters you've specified there. All right, now that's more about max length. And we also have min length. You can also have min length, but that's not important, because min length, it means that the you cannot, or it's just according to the specification. So like you can just say that your password should have more than 4 characters but less than 10 characters. So that's not important at all. So it's, that one is more about the person that you use, or the person and the according to the specification of the people that are filling out the data form. Right, now the other thing we'll be discussing is the use of checkboxes. We'll discuss the use of checkboxes. Now, the checkboxes, somewhere I know maybe you've ever found them, whereby you use you you agree to terms actually. So we'll have an example for that, whereby you agree to certain agreements or just fill out. Okay, let's have, this is what input type. This is an input type. Then you'll have, this one is checkbox. All right, this is checkbox. Then you'll have name. This is name. Then for the name, you can just specify something like policy. This is policy actually, for instance. Then you can also, after that, you say that this is what I agree to the policies. All right, after that you can have a certain text there saying that I agree to the policies. All right, so after that you see that this is a checkbox. If you click on it, it marks it. So you can say that this is a I agree to the policies. So you can use either in your form, the whereby you'll, or your website, whereby a person cannot fill out a data or cannot just apply for certain company without agreeing to their terms and condition. All right, so that's all more about the use of checkboxes. The other one is just the use of radio, whereby this is whereby you choose many option. Where you choose many option, in this case you can only select. So whereby on this part we've discussed the use of checkboxes. Checkboxes, you can choose many options, but the use of radio, you can only choose one option among many other. For instance, when you're selecting gender, you cannot be a female and at the same time you're male. All right, so that's something, and there's something that makes sense so in real life situation. Right, so we are saying that we can either also, this is just, let's delete all this. Okay, not important this time. So we can say that the use of radio, so radio whereby you set your input, let's remove this. This is input type, input instead of test is radio. Then in between there you can have your name, then name can be gender. Can give it a name which is gender. Then after gender, that point you can have a value. Then you can just give it what? This is what? Male. Then after male, here you can say checked. All right. So this is checked. Then here you can say that this is what? Male. All right. Now after that, you can say copy this and then just paste. Then you can change this one to something else like female. Then the other one you can change it to something else like other. Then here at this point you change to female. The value here you can change to other. Alright. Now if you come back to your browser here and you refresh, see that this is what? This is for male, this is for me, female, and this for other. So you can only choose one at certain, or you can just choose one option at a point. All right. So this is you can either choose male, female, or other. All right. Now that's more about check boxes, and actually that's last part of this module about input types that we're using in HTML. There are several other input types that we'll be discussing: the use of test areas, the use of type classes, you can have groups. So there's several other forms, but finally we'll discuss how to create, or after these modules now we'll discuss how you can create a form from scratch with several other input types. So these are just basics, and these are some of the input types that we'll be using, or that you can use when you're creating your form. Now that's all. Various forms elements. Let's discuss various forms elements. And now in our previous module, we discussed input types. We discussed input types that are used in form, and now we want to discuss some of the form elements that are probably used, that are mostly used in when you're creating your forms, and either anywhere, any other project that requires filling of data. Right, some of these is we'll discuss test area. We'll discuss use of test area. So whereby if you press there, you see that you have your test area. You can name it, you can give it a name and a ID, or just leave it at that point. So you'll have use of test area element. This is similar to input field, despite here you can define the number of rows and the columns for the test line. So here you can just define the number of columns and the rows. Right now, not important. So you at this point you can either insert the name or the ID, but you can just leave it at that point. All right. So if you come back to your browser, then you refresh, you see that this is your test, or your test area, test area, something like an empty field, but you specifies. So something of this, what you see now, you can type your message there, so you can have your message there typed. So that's all. So in between here you can say type here, right? So something of that sort. Say that if you click and refresh, say that type here, you can just. All right, now we have our test area element. Now the other element that we'll be using, or before that we discuss the next element, you can either reduce your columns, you can reduce your rows to something like 4 and that sort. So you'll have something of this sort. So the way you want it to appear, or the size that you want it to appear, right? Now that's our first form element that we'll be using. And the other form element is about select element. Select element allows one to select between several options. For instance, you may require to choose your country. Therefore, you'll choose this element, or you'll use this element whereby you'll insert the several countries, whereby one who is filling out the data that the users can fill, or they can choose their countries. All right, now let's say you're choosing your country. Then choose your country here. So this is just a paragraph. Just choose your country here, right? Now after that, below there now is where you use your select, whereby you'll have your select, then select name, you'll give it a value which is countries. You'll choose your countries, then you can have that. So you close it, have a opening tag and a closing tag. Now in between your select, you'll have your first option, you'll have your first option. You use an option tag, Okay, let's just let it be in one line. So you can just have an option. Then after this option, now you'll have your value, the value which is still is either Kenya, you can have Kenya. Then in between here, which will be displayed is Kenya. Right, now you can copy this, to several. So you can have Uganda at this point. You can have Uganda. You can have Nigeria. This is Nigeria. You can have Ghana. You can have, this is Senegal. Right. You can also change this to Senegal. You can also change this one to Ghana. You can change this one to Nigeria. You can change that one to Uganda. Right, Now after that, you can just go back to your browser here and then click on refresh. So you're told that you choose your country here. So when you click here, then you'll have several options. So you can choose Uganda, you can choose Senegal, you can choose any other country there. So this one is just what you call select element. You choose in between several option. All right, you choose it between several option. Now after that, we'll have to discuss another form element, which is a input element. This one I know we have discussed in our previous module, whereby it's a use of input. We'll have several input types like the text, the email, the password. You can have the phone number. You can have several input types according to the specification and of what you're creating and the form type that you're creating. Right now, so in input type, you can have input type. Right, this is input type test. So you can just, so that is just a symbol in input type. You click on refresh to see that this is an input type. You can type your test there. Right, you can have input type for the email, you can have input type for the password, and that all. Then the other form element that we'll discuss is about submit or the button. We'll have button element whereby you'll have submit. Right, so button element, you can have button element. You can just choose button type, whereby you'll use what submit. So you can have submit. So button type, you have several type for this one. You can have reset, you can have menu, you can have several submit buttons. So if you click here, you'll have this one. So this is just a button. This is just a button. So this is another form element, and we said that submit is just used for submitting your form data to the server and okay, so to the server. All right, now that's all about form elements. Let's create HTML tables. So first of all, we need to learn various tags that we'll be using when creating HTML tables. First of all, we'll learn the tag which is table. The other one, okay, let's see, this is table. We'll use table. The other one we'll use is a table heading, table row, tr. Then you'll also use table heading. You'll also use table data. Right, now let's have table heading. Let's also have table data. Right, this is now the various tags that will be used when creating HTML tag. So first of all, this one is table, whereby this is a tag used for defining a table in HTML. It has a closing tag, which is, so you'll have something of this sort. So you'll have table. You'll have table, and this is a closing tag. Right, you'll have a table, then closing tag of this one. Then you'll also have the other one is tr, which is table row, whereby you'll have table, then you have a closing tag of this one. Right, then table heading. This one now defines, is used for defining the heading in a table. So it has so you'll have, this is table heading. It also have a closing tag. Then finally you'll have table data, table data, then this is as a closing tag. Then the other tag that will be looking is caption. So this is caption. So caption, and it has a closing tag, which is this one. All right. Now you can have your caption there. You can say these are programmers. These are the programmers. So maybe. So that caption is used for explaining more about the table that you're creating. It explains more about the table that you're creating. Now, first of all, we'll have a symbol table. Let's have that caption. Then after the caption, now we'll have okay, in between there, before you write your caption, you should enclose it with table. So we want to create a table now. Then this is a table. Let's up there. So this is a table. Now, after the caption, now we'll have now to create a table row. Then in between the table row, you can have your table heading. Whereby you'll have the name. Then another table heading. You'll have what? Country. Right? Then after this one, you'll have now to create table row, another table row. Right, then there you'll have what? Table data. Table data, you can have philo. Then another one you can say table data is from. You're from Kenya, right? Now, when you go back to your browser, then you refresh, love this one, right? Love, this is your caption now. This is your caption. Then this is a name. And then this is a country. This is the name and the country. The name is Phil, or the country is Kenya. All right. Now, also, you can add another value for that. You can add another value for table data. You can have table row, another row, whereby you have now is table data, whereby you have what? Love Kingsley, then another value for country, which is what? Zimbabwe, right? Zimbabwe, right? Then after that, you click and refresh. See that another value has been added. Then the country is Zimbabwe. So you can have as many values as possible. You can have as many values as possible. You see that this is a caption. The caption explains more about the table. All right. So it explains that this table is all about the people and the programmers that you have and your country code. Right. So this is what? Philo Kenya, this Kingsley Zimbabwe. Then after that, so this is just a symbol table that we've created. So the other part, we'll have now to do the formatting of this table. So you can remove this caption, it's not more important. So we can format, whereby we'll look at how you can add borders, or you can space, adding color paddings, the collapse, you can align the text, you can add the spaces between the borders, and also you can do the span. All right, the column span and the row span. All right, now let's start with the inserting borders. Whereby we'll introduce CSS here, whereby you'll say this is style. In between the head tag, whereby you'll have not right. Now, what are we styling? We're styling table, general table, the whole table now. Then we'll have also, you can put comma, table heading, comma, then table data. All right, you can style that. Then you can say the border is right. This is border. You can say 2px solid. Let's say right. This is black. Right. You can just say black. Then you click and refresh. See, you've added borders in the table, in the heading, and also in the table data. All right. Let's say you don't want to include table heading at this point. So let's say it's just a table alone. Let's say it's table alone. You can just refresh. See that the heading is just surrounding the data. So you remove the heading there. But if you want to include border at the table data, you click there and you refresh. You see? You see now? Yeah. So you see the difference, right? You can also add the borders at the top where you have the table heading. All right. Now, after that, we have seen that how you can insert borders. So you can also look at how you can set spaces between the borders. So you can specify the color of the border, you can specify the size of the border and the type of the border type. Right, you can be underlined, dashed, you can be dotted. So it's the way you plan. All right. So let's say you have dotted. Right. So can be dotted or actually. So then you click and refresh. See that the table is dotted. All right. Now after that, we love now this is to set the spaces between the borders, to set the spaces between the borders. Now you can have, let's say this is what we are only setting the spaces between the table data. All right, so you can say border spacing. This is border spacing, and you can just say it's 10 pixel. All right, so after that you click here and refresh. See that there's spaces, there is spaces between the border data or the, okay, let's have the table here. You can say this is table, say comma, then click here and refresh. See the difference. Now you can see the difference. There's space around, here. See, there is space all around here. So that's all what we're talking about. So you can increase the size to something like, let's say 30 pixel, where when you click here and refresh, see that the space has increased all around. The space has increased. All right, so let's put it at 10. So the other thing we were talking about is how now you can align items. You can align maybe you can align the test heading, the test data. So let's say you want to arrange the table heading alone, the heading alone. So you can just say that you align. Okay, so sorry for that. So you'll have now, this is what, then you'll have, let's remove this border. So you can say that test align, so you can have what, center, you can align at the center, you can align to the right. Let's align to the right. Let's align it to the right. So you see that it has been aligned to the right. So that's all. So you can put border. So you can, let's put border to this one. So you can say border to the table. Let's put borders so that you can have a few hit well. So this is what border. Okay, so let's see. Now you see now the test has been aligned to the right. So you can align to the center, or you can just align to the left. So if you align to the left now, can align to the left. So click here, you see that the test has changed to right. So you can also align this table data. You can align the table data. Let's remove this table heading. So you see the data reserve is aligned to the left, right, or just let's align it to the right. Right. So if you click and you refresh, you see that the data is aligned to the right. Now we have seen how you can align your data heading or table heading, table data, and also generally your table. Now we want to see how you can set the padding. You can set the padding actually to the table data. So padding is just the space all around. So table data, you can set the padding and set it to something like, let's say this is what, let's set it to something like a 10 pixel. So if you click and you refresh, you see that the spaces between the space all around is set to what? Is set to 10 pixel. Right. So that the padding, you can set the padding, the space bit around the table data. All right. Now the other one is just to add the span. This is the last part of this module, whereby we'll look at how you can span, or you can add the column span and also the row span in your tables. Right. This is whereby let's delete all this. You can delete all this table, and let's start fresh. Okay, this is table, then this is what, this is now. Want to see now how you can add a column span. Let's see how you can add a column span. Now a column span is whereby, and now your column is divided into several columns, or one of your column, or one of your column is divided into several columns. Then rows is whereby your rows, one of those row is divided, or you divide your rows into several rows. Right. That's all we call span. Span is just the matter of dividing to several sections. Right. Let's have an example for column span. So whereby you have a table. This is a table. Okay. Then at the table we'll have the tr table row. Then at this point now is whereby you put a table heading. Then you'll put the name. let's say the name. Then after this, you'll have now another column span or the table heading. You'll have another table heading. Table heading. The table heading now you'll have to define it into. So here we're defining the column. So another table heading you'll have the call span. Call span you can just say it is 2. Then you can have here more info, right? More info. Then we can have this other one. Now you have the tr table row. You can have table row, another table row here, table row. Then you'll have now your table data, your td table data, whereby you'll have a filler, then the table data, another table data, whereby you'll have what? Kenya. You'll have another table data, whereby for what? You can give your contact name, you can give your gender. So let's call it male. So this is more info about the person. So if you click here, then you click here and refresh, you see that the column is divided into several sections, whereby you'll have the name. This is your name. The name is Philo. Then more info is from Kenya. It gives a country, and it also gives the gender, right? The gender for the person, right? Let's say you insert borders. Let's say you insert borders. So you can insert the borders to see the difference, what you're talking about. All right. So this is what the style. Let's insert the style there. Then you'll have the table. Okay. Then you'll have the table data. Okay, this is table heading. Let's insert to the table heading. Then insert the border. This is a border now. Then we can have 2 pixels solid. Then you can say this is black. This is black now. So you come here and you refresh, see that this is what you're talking about now. That your data here is defined, that you have your info. This is your name, and this is now your data. So more info explain the same person here. So love, this is Kenya, he's from Kenya. Also it's a male, it explains the gender. Right now the other part will look at how you can define or add in a row span, whereby you define a row into several rows. Now let's see for this. Now for this you'll have now the table run. So instead of now adding the column span, you'll have what? The row span. So this is row span, right? So let's click here and then refresh. You see, okay. So this is more info. This is what? Now this is your name. You see, it explains about this. And this is what? Now this is your this is your no more info. It explains the Kenya and the country, right? See, so that's all about how you can add the table. You can add the table, or and you format your table. Table is so important when you're creating your HTML pages. Some of you may come a point where you want to write, you may want to create a table, or maybe you want to create something that involves rows and columns. So the same will apply. Thank you. Well, iframes are just HTML. Iframe refers to the HTML document that is embedded inside another HTML document on a website. It is just useful. Actually, it's very useful as it inserts another content or just in a web page from another source. All right. So maybe you can insert content for our advertisement, or you can just insert a video, or just you can also insert what you call another website inside another web page. All right, now we'll see that how you can write or you can insert iframes in HTML by using the iframe tag. So this is the iframe tag now that we will be using. So we'll have something of this sort. So we'll have this open tag and this is a closing tag. All right, now in between here you'll have now what you call hierarchy, or whereby you insert your URL. Right, in between here you can insert your URL, that is your link. All right, then after this here you can style, you can insert the style, you can style, you can remove the borders, you can insert the height, the width, and also set the border color. So after that one you can just style your iframe how you want it to appear. Right, now we want to have, or we want to have this. So here we'll have an example here whereby at this point where you have an URL, we'll copy this link for our website. This is our official website, which is lantechphilo.com. So this one will give a few or a few of our website. Will give a few of our website. So you click here and then refresh. You see now. Okay, let's wait and see how it appears. You see, so this is the website now. Now at this point you can view our website which is landtechfield.com. At this point now you can just access it. At this point you can just access it. So you see that there are various, you have forms, you have languages that you have covered. You have covered several languages: CSS, HTML, JavaScript, PHP, Java, Python, C++. Cool. You can have exercises, frameworks. You can have also the blogs that you've written, and also the contact sign. So this just the website now. We have filled it. You can search here. So this is just the website that we have, that you have put it in a iframe. You can view it offline here. So then you can have, this is Java. You can have this course. So you can have access our courses at this point. Right. If you click here, then it should take you to our pages. All right, it takes you to our Java full course chapters. You'll have the introduction, the syntax. You can see the Java casting. So these are Java chapters. All right, now This is how you insert a iframe. This is how you insert a iframe. All right. Now you can style and change the width, the height. So at this point you can change the width and set it to something like, let's set it to 100. Then also for the height, let's say height is what? You can set it to 120, 120. All right. Now at this point, just click and refresh. See that you see that it has been reduced. It has been reduced to these small. Now you see here, you feel it at this point, so it appears that way because actually, okay, you see, so this Java course, so this is just because it's on a small screen. So the other thing you can remove by default, it has some borders. It has some border, as you can see. By default it has some borders. So to remove these, you can just come here, then say that you can just delete this. Let's delete this. Okay, let's delete it and insert this time whereby we'll say that border, then you say none. This is none. Right. Now after that, you just click here and refresh. You see now there is no borders. There is no borders around here. All right. Now you see now. Then the other one is here. We have this is scroll. You can remove also the scroll, but so you can style the way you want it to appear. So you can style it the way you want it to appear. So you can stay that overflow. Overflow. Okay. You can say hidden. So with that, we have seen how you can style or insert iframes. So next next on our tutorial, we'll discuss on CSS. Let's see how you can style, or we'll discuss more about the styling language. All right, now this the end of our tutorial and our HTML course. So remember to subscribe, like and share videos for more amazing